So what I wanted to do was to just give people an idea of how they can self-treat or treat members of their family who are in isolation with them using Moxa, which is an ancient technique. It's been around since actually, I think the first recording of Moxa was 168 BC. So it's got a good clinical record, we could say. And what I'm going to show you is how you can use Moxa on yourself, and 6 very simple points combined, which work to strengthen your chi or energy, augment the chi. And this has been shown to actually also boost our natural defenses. There's a marvelous charity set up in Britain called Mox Africa, which is teaching people in Africa how to use Moxa on just one of the points that I'm showing for the treatment of TB. This was first pioneered by a Japanese practitioner in the 1930s who was successfully treating TB with just Moxa. That's before there was any medicine there to actually treat people. It's amazing. It's like magic. So we should all be doing it, and I wish it was taught in schools. So I'm here with my daughter Oonagh and her partner Ruud. We are family isolating. So here is Ruud. Ruud is going to be the body on which we're going to do the Moxa, and Oonagh is going to be using her phone to additionally move the camera so that we can hopefully get close-ups as well and that you can all hear. Okay?
So just before we start, I think we'll just give it a few more minutes because I think there are a couple more people who still wanted to join this. So we're going to give it a few minutes before we actually start the demonstration. In the meantime, if you have any questions, we will have time for questions at the end, but please just put a message in the chat. So that is at the bottom of your screen. You should see a little chat bubble. So if you just type in there, then we can get to your question throughout the session. So just before we kind of jump in, can we just have a confirmation from a few of you in the chat that you can hear us properly and you can see us well? Great. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Okay.
Fantastic. Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do first of all is to show you the different types of Moxa that I use, or that I'm suggesting that you might use. Now these are available. I buy from a company in Germany called DocSave, and we will put the address and contact details of how to find them. I've checked this morning that they are still delivering, so people can order from them directly. For those of you who are in Ireland and close to me, I do have some Moxa in stock, so I can post some out to you, but I have a limited stock because it's just from our supplies. So Mark, I'm actually putting some in the envelope that's going out to you today, so you can get going straight away. Okay, so I'm going to move the computer over to the other side of the room. And here you can see the different types of Moxa that I use. So this is a stick-on Moxa, and it comes in 2 different strengths. You can see there's a hole. This means that it's stronger, and there's a smaller hole here, which means that it's weaker. I think I put that the wrong way around. Stronger, weaker. These are stick-on Moxas, which you can take off and stick directly onto the acupuncture point. And there's a selection of Moxa sticks. So those of you in Lara Bling will be able to get these from Rebecca Abode, who has very kindly said that she can supply some, and she can do a group order. So there's thin sticks and more expensive aromatic Japanese sticks, and cheaper, more smoky, more smelly Chinese sticks. Now the Chinese sticks are it's more coarse, and it makes a bit more smoke in the room. Japanese ones use a more refined Moxa. It's filtered for longer, it's more aromatic, but they both do the same thing. So Moxa itself is being shown to give off the same infrared radiation that we have in our bodies. So it's used on acupuncture points. They could be depressed, so we can easily find them actually as indents in the body, or swellings. So it helps inflammation. Surprisingly, heat on heat, one would think, would aggravate it, but actually, because it's natural infrared, it's going in, improving the circulation and improving the body's natural defenses. So it's been shown, there was an interesting study in Russia with Kieran photography. That's where they take photograph of your aura or the energy around your body, that shows with the use of Moxa, it kind of sends a whoosh of energy, or the chi, away from the point, really augmenting or getting it going. So it's very effective. Okay, so we're now going to get Ruud to get onto the couch and start to find some of these points. Okay, we're going to put something underneath your knee. So for those of you, you can do this on a sofa, or put it under both knees. Yeah, this just helps to relax the knee. So the first point I'm going to show you is stomach 36, Susan Lee. And this particular point you find by finding the kneecap or the patella. Underneath it, there's a little indent, and you go 4 fingers below. So it's 4 fingers of the person you're working on, not your own fingers. So 4 fingers below, and the point is here. So if we don't have that, we can come up with the bone curls around here, and the point is in the indent. It's not to the side, that's a different point. It's in the indent. So you can often find it with a dip. There's often a dip. Acupuncture points are like metro stations. The energy flows in meridians inside the body, underneath the skin. The meridians are named after internal organs, and the acupuncture points are how you find the railway line or the metro station down. So it's a bit like if you're walking down the street and you know that you've got the metro underneath it, you can't actually access it without going to the metro station. So this point is large, it's about this big. So you don't have to worry about being so accurate here. So what we're going to do here with this point is try stick-on Moxa. So for this, we take the stick-on Moxa. Ruud, can I have your hand? Other hand. You can light it. This is just to light it. So I'm using a big firelight. You can use a match. And once the Moxa is lit, so if you're doing this yourself, you just light it on yourself. It's sticky. You find the acupuncture point and you stick on the Moxa. You might have to press it a little if it's a hairy leg. And there's a nice warm glow that comes from it. Can you feel any heat yet?
Not yet, bit.
Yeah. So with the stick-on Moxa, it's good to have a bowl of water nearby, because when it gets too hot or it's finished, we take it off and we put it into the water. Now, I'm going to show you.
I'm just going to click on this to make this bigger. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to show you a different stick. So this is a finer Japanese stick, a bit like a cigar. So this one, you light the end exactly like you would a cigar. I've never smoked a cigar, but this is how I've seen people light cigars. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, actually.
Fun point.
But you get a little glow at the end. Can you see? Can you see the glow?
Put it up closer to the camera.
Camera closer to the camera. Okay, glow. All right. So now you know it's lit. And this, let me pull this one up here. So we find the point again, 4 fingers down, and on the outside, you can place the Moxa stick. Can you see that? I think you need to move it around here.
Yeah.
Hang on. Okay. So this is for you with sticks. Okay, now I'm going to show you taking this off, and you just put it into the bowl of water.
Okay, there's a couple of questions. First one is, can you not just stick the point on first and then light it?
You can, but if you've got a hairy leg, you might set fire to the hairs around the leg, which mightn't be a good idea. If it's not a hairy leg and the person is okay with you putting the flame close to the skin, you can do that. It's fine. But it's if you know, if it's very close, you can get a bit alarmed. But if you're doing it yourself, it's fine. I do that myself.
So another question, is this point specific to the right leg?
No. All these points I'm showing you on the leg are bilateral. So the meridians run on the outside of the leg for the stomach channel, and it runs beside the bone, and it's on the outside in this depression on both sides. So it's bilateral, and you do the point on both sides. You can choose to have one session, say, do it on the right side one time, and then you do it on the left side the other time.
Do you have a chart with the location of these acupressure points that you could share with us?
Yes, if you send me an email to
roaringhealthcenter@gmail.com. I'll put the email in the chat for anyone who has any further questions after this.
Then I'll send you a description of how to find the point and what the point does for each of the 6 points I'm going to describe. But you can also find the information on the internet. You look up stomach 36, Susanli, ZUSILI, oh, I'm hopeless at spelling. I'll email me and I'll send you out the information. It means 3 mile walking. Actually, it's quite interesting. This point was moxed every single day in China for the army, and Mao didn't ban acupuncture because he found that he could get his army to work harder, be able to feed them less, and be able to do more because their chi was boosted by treating this point. When I was in China, well, it's a long time ago now, 30 years ago, you go to a restaurant and you'd see people moxering this point before they were going to eat a meal so they could eat more food, which is not actually what you should be doing it for, but it does improve digestion, and therefore you benefit. Okay, so we just for using the Moxa, very, very simply, you just circle the stick around. You don't do it stationary because it gets too hot. Okay, so you move it around. And if you're concerned that you might be burning the person, and you can just put your fingers either side of the point because your fingers are more sensitive than their skin, and you can feel the heat that way and know not to put it too close. There is one caution you should be careful with. If you're somebody that's on a lot of medication, then you may not feel this quite so quickly as other people. The skin may not go so red because the chemicals in the medication can create a bit of stagnation. So it takes longer to get a response. But so that's important for you to actually be using your hand over these points so that you can tell you're not too close. But generally speaking, it's almost impossible to get a negative response as long as you're not burning this directly on the skin. So just in gentle circles.
So we have another question. Does it matter if you move the Moxa stick clockwise or anti-clockwise in this circular motion?
No, no. You can also move it up the channel, along the channel. So this is nice and stimulating as well. So you can just literally move it up the channel. It feels really nice. I prefer to use the Japanese Moxa because it's less smelly and it's more delicate. What does it feel like, Ruud?
Feels very nice, yes.
Feels very nice, yeah. So this is just stimulating the stomach channel. So generally stimulating the stomach points. It's important to work with digestion. This is the source of our energy. We are what we eat. We are what we think. And both of these are digestive processes. So just strengthening the stomach or the digestion will boost your energy generally, and thus it will boost your defenses against illness, your immune system. Moxa, interestingly, under experimentation, has been shown to increase white blood cells and T cells and do all sorts of wonderful things. So this is just here. Now, when you finish with this stick, what you do, I'm just going to get a pair of scissors, is simply cut off the burning end. I'm going to put it into the water here. So end of burning end, Moxa stick stops burning. So the next point I'm going to show you, so you remember the 4 fingers again, is spleen 6, which is on the inside of the leg.
So what is a spleen?
The spleen is all the organs are paired in Chinese medicine. So for digestion, we have 2 paired organs, the stomach and the spleen. So the spleen in Western medicine is not considered terribly important. It's considered to be involved with blood sugar, but not really much else. Splenectomies are performed and people don't really think much about it. But in Oriental medicine, the meridian has a far bigger function than just the physical organ has. And we consider the spleen to be, or in fact all the meridians, to be the entire meridian. The organ is only a part of it. So in Oriental medicine, the spleen is responsible for taking the energy that goes into the stomach. The stomach is like a cooking pot. The spleen takes the energy from the stomach and it converts it into qi and blood. It takes the blood around the body and it holds the vessels in place and the blood in place and the organs in place. And all organs have a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual component. So the mental function of the spleen is the mind that goes think, 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 worry, 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 which we're all doing a lot of at the moment. So we're using our spleen energy to think often rather than actually digest our food and transform our food. This can lead to a lot of weakness. The other thing that's important is that the spleen, the energy that comes from the spleen is the source of the energy that then provides our defensive energy, or Wei Qi, which prevents us from being attacked by what is called external pathogenic factors, which are climatic, like wind, cold, damp, dryness, but also bacteria and viruses. So it's basically important, put simply, that we strengthen our digestion to make energy, to strengthen us as a natural defense against whatever's coming our way. Okay, so this spleen point is also important because it's the meeting of 3 channels, the spleen, the liver, and the kidney. So if you like, you can benefit 3 birds with 1 point. So again, it's 4 hands. We take the width of 4 fingers, not 4 hands, the width of 4 fingers. So you find the medial malleolus. This is the sort of knobbly bit of the inside of the ankle bone here. So you go from the crest of the bone, the top of it, 4 fingers up is approximately where the point is. So here. So Rude, do you want to find it? Okay, now in most people there's a depression. So when you actually run your finger, not your leg, you run your finger up the inside of your leg, it naturally falls often into a dip. Dips in the body or tender points in the body are indications that it's worth giving it a treatment there. And you can actually apply the Moxa almost to any of those very tender points. So we come up, again, this point is big, it's about this big. So, you know, the tip of your finger is quite a good indicator of finding it. So again, we can use the stick-on Moxa onto the point. We can use the long Moxa. So I'm going to demonstrate this one with the long, thick Moxa. So this is a Japanese one, so it has a lovely smell. Can you smell that?
Yeah.
Smell? So this takes longer to light.
Smells great. So you can get all of these products from DocSave, and we're going to put the link inside the chat.
The important thing with this, after you've used the Moxa, you do need to extinguish it. Otherwise, it will continue burning and burn the whole stick, which is wasteful. And also be careful not to put the ash into your bin. You know, really do put it into a bowl of water, because yeah, I mean, I've set fire to my bin thinking it's out by emptying the ash. So it does take a little bit of getting lit. Again, you can see the glow.
Got a question. Did you already mention how long you should leave on the adhesive pins for? That's what
the adhesive Moxa, you'll feel it when it's enough. So you can leave it on till it goes out. That's for some people. It is held away from the skin, so you're not actually going to burn the skin. There is actually a little tiny gap of about 1 millimeter before it touches the skin. So you can take it off when it feels too hot and put it into the water. So everybody is different in what they want and how much they can take, but it doesn't hurt to let it burn right out. Just don't burn yourself. So now we have this stick lit. This is hotter, obviously, because it's bigger, and we can place this again around the point. You can also run it up the channel. So you need to have it, maybe it's about 1 inch away from the skin, but if you're treating yourself, you'll feel what's nice. It's very relaxing. It feels good. And when you've had enough, you really feel, no, that's enough. I don't want any more. So this can vary. Some people will have you doing this for 15 minutes, maybe. Another person, just a few minutes.
So we have another question. Should you always treat both sides, i.e. both legs? And does it matter which one you start with?
It doesn't matter which one you start with. And no, you don't need to treat both legs, but it's very balanced to treat both legs. But you can do a treatment of one leg on one occasion and then the other leg on another occasion. But if you only do one point and don't worry about any of the others, stomach 36, the first point I demonstrated on the outside of the knee, is the point to do. I mean, certainly in clinical trials, which they've done quite a lot of now on that point, both in hospitals and through this charity, Mox Africa, it's really shown to be effective. And it's they were treating people who were non-drug responsive to TB in the outback in Africa, and in Brazil they've been doing this as well. And it's been shown that they become drug responsive after a while. And they treat it every single day. But it's like magic. So this is as simple as that, just circling the Moxa stick over the point or running up the channel. I'm going to put this one aside, so I'm not going to relight it again. And
should any of these points be avoided in pregnancy?
The abdominal points that I'm going to show you should be avoided in pregnancy. So obviously you don't want to be doing too much over the top of a baby. So but you can do stomach 36 safely. When you are doing it on yourself, it's ideal if somebody else can do it for you, your partner. But if you're doing it on yourself, then don't be leaning over, squashing your belly and inhaling the smoke. That might be a bit much. So you sit back to do it, to let the smoke go away. And maybe choose one of the Japanese varieties of Moxa rather than the Chinese, because they have less smoke.
When along the channel, when along the channel do you kind of start your upward motion?
If we're doing these digestive ones, you can just start from the ankle up.
Okay, and you're going anti-clockwise. Does it matter which direction you go in?
No. So I'm now going to show the next point is kidney 3. So for this one, you find the knobbly bit on the inside of the ankle, or the medial malleolus, and the Achilles tendon, which is the tendon at the back. The point is directly in between. Okay, on most people, there's a bit of a dip there. So for that one, we're going to use the stick-on Moxa, and Ruud will tell me when it's too hot. So I'm lighting it here between my fingers. And we stick it on. So a kidney is seen as the root, or the battery, if you like, that powers all the other organs. This particular point is quite a neutral point for strengthening the kidney generally. So it's great, particularly in elderly people, but all of us could do with having a bit of a battery power up at the moment. So no harm to do it. If you want to just use the stick, which you can do separately. This has gone out again now. Tell me when that one gets too hot.
Yeah.
So there's another question. For the knee point, I think that's stomach 36. Going along the channel, do you start at a point and then go downwards?
You do start at the point and go downwards rather than up, because the flow of the energy of the stomach is down to the toe rather than up. So if you wanted to generally tonify, you would go up the inside of the leg and down the outside of the leg. So up and down.
How often do you recommend treatment?
Once a day is perfect. Now, is this one still too hot?
No, it's not too hot.
Yeah, it's actually burnt out. So this would indicate here, because this one's burnt out without Ruud saying anything, that probably one could do more on that particular point.
Yeah, I'm much more sensitive. So for me, usually only after about 10 or 15 seconds I can handle before it's too much for me. So it does depend on you and your body.
I mean, the kidney channel actually starts in the base of the foot here. So if you wrinkle the toes down, you can see a dip underneath the paddy part of the foot. That's kidney 1. Right? So you can actually start by moxering the sole of the foot on somebody who's kidney deficient, which feels very nice for them. They think, oh yeah, that's lovely, it's very relaxing. Feet are sensitive, so not too much heat. Then you can come round the channel, which comes through here and goes around the ankle to this point here. So you can just do it in circular motions like this. So you're starting with the sole of the foot and coming around like this. I mean, lots of people have cold feet. You know, this is a good way of warming the feet up, getting the circulation going, tonifying the kidneys at the same time. You can then, with the stick, come up the inside of the leg. So here you're tonifying kidney, liver, and spleen all the way up. So nice circular movements all the way up the knee. So again, we start at the base of the foot, we come around, we go over the top and come all the way up. Okay, so for the stomach, again, we got the point here. So that's 4 fingers below the kneecap. I mean, some people actually do also take the kneecap measurement to take that down and move across. It's about the same. There's a big point, so it's easy to find. Stomach 36 on the outside. And then you can go down the channel like this. Okay. So now I'm going to demonstrate points on the abdomen. So if you're pregnant, best not to do these points. Ruud, would you lie down for me? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to have the 4-finger rule again. So four finger thickness, we find the belly button, you go 4 fingers below, and this is kidney 4. So I'm just going to roll down the underpants a tiny wee bit here, so it's clearer. The point is here. So again, this can be stick on, it can be Moxa stick. So we just tonify. This tonifies the kidney, the lower dantian, the general core energy.
So what's the difference between a point and a channel?
Okay, the channel is the railway line that the energy flows through, and the acupuncture point is the metro station where you catch the train. The train is your energy. So that's putting it in childish terms, but it kind of says what it is. So the acupuncture points are how you access the chi, how you access the point. So the chi flows inside these channels, inside the body. So you have to be able to find the points to access it. And these points have specific energetic functions that are different along the channel. So just because it's, say, the stomach channel, you can influence different aspects of the function of the stomach or the spleen, depending on which point you use. In the same way that if you want to, go to one part of the country or another, you need to go to certain train stations to be able to do that. So again, we can use the stick like this, or we can use the stick-on Moxa. So when you're lighting the stick-on Moxa yourself, it's a good idea to do it sideways on, like this. Then you don't burn yourself. You get it lit, it's sticky, and then you find the point. So it's 4 fingers down, and it goes on. Now this one will probably be hotter more than the ankle point because the skin is more sensitive here. So Ruud will have to tell me when it's hot. You won't burn yourself by touching the outsides of these. The next point I'm going to find will be Ren 6, which is equidistance between Ren 4 and the belly button. So it's right here. Okay. Again, we use a stick-on Moxa for this point. And these really strengthen your core energy.
How is this connected to the immune system?
If your energy is weak, it cannot strengthen your immune system. So your immune system, or the defenses that you have, you need to have the energy to actually put into having defenses. From an Oriental perspective, we say that we have a defensive shield around our body. They call it Wei Qi, or it's like, for those of you who are Dharma practitioners, a Vajra dome. And it literally is a shield of energy, a magnetic field around our body. The energy to provide this magnetic shield comes from the spleen. It's then put up there by the lungs. You have to have the basic energy in order to be able to put that shield up. So for most of us, this is weakened. It's weakened by electromagnetic smog. You may have noticed if you go into a supermarket where there's lots of neon strip lights, you start to feel weak. If you travel on a plane where you go through the screens, you feel exhausted because these take down our magnetic shield, which is this defensive energy. And often you get sick, even if it's just too hot.
It's hot.
Both of them?
No.
Yeah. So because the magnetic shield comes down, we get exhausted, we get sick. So this strengthening of the core energy helps to provide the energy to put this shield back up in place. Now, and this makes no sense from a Western perspective because they don't have these concepts. But I don't know, it's a good clinical trial. It's been very effective for the last 3,000 years from an Oriental perspective. So I choose to think they know something about it.
Can this be done on children? And if so, from what age?
It can be done on babies, but I would suggest you use the Moxa stick rather than the stick-on because they'll wriggle and get too curious. But yeah, children love it. They'll actually lie still for it. So now I'm going to show you the last point, which is is a point again for digestion, which is Ren 12. So it's equidistance between the xiphoid process, which is the little sticky bit that comes down below the rib, so you can feel it in here, and the umbilical. So it's bang in the middle. And again, we use a stick-on. But you could be using the Moxa stick. on these points.
That one gets hot very easily.
This one hot?
Yeah.
And this one not hot yet.
No.
So this one here needs a bit more work.
What is the name of the point?
This point is called Ren 6, and it's a point for generating chi, and it's an access point for a reserve of chi in the body. They say it's a sea of chi.
What is chi?
Chi is energy, and it's the core energy of the body that we make. So we come in with a certain amount of energy, like we inherit it, which relates to the kidneys, and that's our battery power. So the kidney controls the ankles, the knees, the lower back, the spine, the teeth, the brain. Signs of old age are effectively declining kidney energy from an Oriental perspective. When we don't have enough in our current account, we pull on our savings. So our current account is our digestion. We are what we eat, we are what we think. And when we don't have enough, we pull on our kidney energy. This makes us old quickly and tires us out. So if we don't have enough energy, we can't put up our defensive energy. Our immune system can't work. Our defenses can't work properly. And this treatment here that I've shown you is basically about trying to strengthen our core energy, our basic energy.
What is the name of the point in between the chest and the belly button? This one.
This one is Ren 12, and it's a point specifically for digestion, to improve the digestion. So we have Ren 12, or conception vessel 12, it's sometimes called, conception vessel 6, conception vessel 4. So this is known as the lower dantian, which is the sort of powerhouse of energy. We should all be ideally operating from this part of our bodies. And in many people, particularly women, this area can be cold, showing a core weak energy here. If you were a semi-wrestler, you'd really try to augment the chi here. All your power would be coming from here. But sadly, most of us are just operating from our heads. We're not grounded. We're not using our basic energies. Now, there was a question about treating of babies, or small children. So I'm going to pretend that Ruud is a small baby. I'm going to ask him to roll over onto his belly and take off his top. So I can show you how you can do a very simple treatment for children.
Children are not painted properly.
And children, yeah, okay. So if Ruud was a baby, you've got the spine here, and you've got the muscles either side, the erecti spinae here. These are points that treat all the organs, okay, starting with the lungs at the top, going down. So you've got sort of lungs, digestion, kidneys. So there's two things you can do with children or small ones. You can pinch the points very gently to stimulate the organs to work. And it feels quite nice on children, and they like it. So it's a little gentle pinch like this. So you're pinching and slightly twisting your hands. So you do this either side of the spine. So this is they like this. You can do this after a bath. They think it's fun. And then the other thing you can do with your Moxa stick is go in little circular motions down the back. Now you can do this with adults as well, but it's particularly nice with kids. They're not breathing in the smoke. It feels nice. They're not seeing what you're doing. They're just feeling it. So just on either side of the spine. You do need to do it on both sides. You can also circle. This is on somebody who maybe has a sore back. You can circle the spinous processes all the way down. Again, this corresponds and stimulates the organs. So you're going in circles like this, like a little snake, all the way down the spine. Now this you can do if you're pregnant and you have some pains. You can actually do a nice treatment. So we'll imagine that Ruud is female. You can go like a dovetail from the base of the spine. So this is helpful if you've got period pains or if your lower back is sore. So you just, again, you go out from the sacrum, that's the little tiny fan-shaped bone at the bottom of the spine, like this. This also helps with lower back pain. It feels really nice. So you're just going out in a like a peacock's tail.
A couple more questions.
Okay.
This is in relation to children. Will it help them sleep better?
Yes, it will help them sleep better, particularly if you work on the soles of the feet.
Then I noticed that she's pinching, this is you, I noticed that Nona is pinching from the up going down on each side. This is on the previous point. So we don't start from the bottom.
You start from, no, the channels flow in different directions depending on whether they're yin or yang channels. So for the back ones, for the babies, you go on the back like this, coming down the spine.
And could this point be done during labor? I think.
Which point are we talking about?
I think it's the previous point, also the back.
You could do the back, yes. I mean, if you're there's a specific points that you stimulate to bring on labor or comfort labor, which are different. I mean, in fact, spleen 6, which I showed you, which is the one that's 4 hands above the inside of the ankle, on the inside of the leg in here. This point, don't be poking it when you're pregnant, in the early stages of pregnancy, but you can do this one in labor. But there are specific points for labor to bring on labor. I'm not going to show those now. You can email me directly and I'll talk about that.
If you have any questions that are specific to you, feel free to email us at roaringhealthcenter@gmail.com.